In late 2024, former President Trump announced a sweeping new travel policy, sparking global debate. The executive order introduced strict rules for entering the United States, citing national security as the main goal. Several countries faced outright travel bans, while others saw tougher visa restrictions. Supporters viewed this as Trump fulfilling his promises on border security. Critics, however, worried about the impact on families, refugees, and America's global image. The policy listed specific countries and reasons for their inclusion, emphasizing security standards over religious or regional bias. The administration argued these nations failed to meet U.S. vetting requirements. The announcement came amid intense political debate and quickly dominated headlines. The order updated earlier measures, reflecting Trump's ongoing focus on immigration. The administration insisted the policy was about safety, not discrimination. The list of affected countries was based on their cooperation with U.S. security protocols. The policy's full impact is still being debated even a year later. Families, students, and workers from these countries faced immediate uncertainty. The world watched closely as America's approach to travel and security shifted once again. The debate over the policy's fairness and effectiveness remains unresolved. We look back now, in mid-2025, to understand its consequences. The 2024 travel policy didn't appear in a vacuum. It built on Trump's earlier controversial travel bans. Those first-term bans targeted several Muslim-majority countries, sparking protests and legal battles. Some bans were blocked or altered by courts, but a version was eventually upheld by the Supreme Court. The administration claimed these measures were about security, not religion, though critics disagreed. The 2024 update echoed many of the same arguments: terrorism concerns, lack of information sharing, and vetting challenges. Over time, the list of banned countries changed, as some improved cooperation and others did not. The policy was always conditional. Countries could be removed if they met U.S. security standards. The new order aimed to be more legally robust, learning from past court challenges. The debate felt familiar. Supporters saw necessary protection, critics saw discrimination. The administration stressed that bans were not permanent and could be lifted with better cooperation. The 2024 update continued this dynamic, strict approach. The list of countries reflected ongoing security assessments and shifting global risks. The policy's flexibility was touted as a way to encourage compliance. Critics argued it still unfairly targeted certain populations. The travel ban's evolution shows how security and legal strategy shaped U.S. immigration. The 2024 policy was both a continuation and an escalation of earlier efforts. The system remained strict, but not entirely static. The debate over its fairness and effectiveness persisted. The story of U.S. travel bans is one of ongoing tension between security and openness. The 2024 policy named 12 countries whose citizens faced a full ban on entry to the U.S.: Afghanistan, Somalia, Yemen, Syria, Libya, Iran, North Korea, Venezuela, Sudan, Chad, Mali, and Niger were all included. The administration cited high security risks, ongoing conflicts, and lack of reliable government cooperation as reasons. Most U.S. visas, including tourist, work, and some family reunification visas, became unavailable to these nationals. The impact was immediate. Travel plans were canceled, families separated, and futures thrown into uncertainty. The ban applied regardless of where applicants sought their visas. For Afghanistan, Taliban control and unreliable vetting were key concerns. For Somalia, Yemen, Syria, and Libya, war and instability made vetting impossible. Iran and North Korea remained on the list due to long-standing tensions. Venezuela's inclusion was tied to political turmoil and poor cooperation. Sudan, Chad, Mali, and Niger were added for instability and extremist threats. The administration provided country-specific justifications, emphasizing security. The list signaled a hardline U.S. stance on travel from high-risk regions. The policy's reach was broad, affecting thousands of lives overnight. The message was clear: security concerns would drive U.S. travel policy. In addition to the full bans, 7 countries faced new, tougher restrictions. Iraq, Pakistan, Nigeria, Eritrea, Myanmar, Kyrgyzstan, and Belarus were singled out. Citizens of these nations encountered extra screening, longer wait times, and suspended visa categories. The administration aimed to pressure these governments to improve security practices and information sharing. Iraq and Pakistan faced heightened checks despite some cooperation. Nigeria's restrictions worried those with family or business ties in the U.S. Eritrea's limits were linked to deportation cooperation. Myanmar's political crisis, Kyrgyzstan's document security, and Belarus's ties to Russia were all cited. Each country had specific reasons for increased scrutiny. The new rules created uncertainty and delays for applicants. The administration hoped these measures would prompt reforms abroad. Critics argued the restrictions were overly broad and punitive. The policy's goal was clear raise security standards worldwide. The affected countries now faced a higher bar for U.S. travel. The Trump administration justified the 2024 travel policy with several key arguments. National security was the top priority. Officials said some countries failed to vet their citizens or share crucial information. Visa overstays were another concern, with certain nations having high rates. The new restrictions aimed to reduce overstays and improve compliance. Enhanced vetting was central. The U.S. demanded better cooperation, secure passports, and criminal record sharing. The administration set new minimum standards for all countries. Officials insisted the policy was not religiously motivated, pointing to the diverse list of affected nations. The message met U.S. security benchmarks, or face restrictions. Critics remained skeptical, but the administration stuck to its security rationale. The policy was framed as a practical, not discriminatory response to global risks. The administration wanted to pressure countries to modernize their security systems. The official line safety first, with cooperation as the path to fewer restrictions. The debate over the true motives continued. Enhanced vetting was a cornerstone of the 2024 policy. It meant deeper background checks, more documents, and advanced data analysis for visa applicants. The U.S. demanded access to foreign criminal databases and information on lost or stolen passports. Countries had to issue secure electronic passports and report on known or suspected terrorists. Those failing to meet these benchmarks faced travel restrictions. The administration argued this was essential for national safety in a changing world. Enhanced vetting was also a tool to pressure countries into better cooperation. Critics worried about fairness and potential discrimination. Some questioned whether the measures were truly effective. The debate over enhanced vetting's impact and necessity remains unresolved. The policy set a new higher bar for international travel. To the U.S. supporters saw it as overdue. Opponents saw it as excessive. The controversy over vetting continues to shape immigration debates. Why update the travel ban in late 2024? The timing was linked to politics. Elections were near, and immigration was a hot topic. Announcing a tougher policy appealed to Trump's base and reinforced his campaign promises. New security assessments may have played a role, with intelligence suggesting increased risks. Global events, conflicts, instability, or lack of cooperation could trigger policy changes. The administration also wanted to consolidate previous orders into a single, stronger directive. Legal clarity and a firmer stance were key goals. The update reflected both political strategy and evolving security concerns. The world's changing landscape demanded new responses. The 2024 order was Trump's definitive mark on U.S. travel policy. The mix of politics, security, and global events shaped the timing. The reasons were complex, but the impact was immediate. The 2024 travel policy sparked intense reactions from all sides. Supporters praised the move as necessary for national security and strong borders. They trusted the administration's judgment on which countries posed risks. Critics, including human rights groups and immigration lawyers, condemned the policy as discriminatory. Many worried about separated families and the fate of refugees. Legal challenges were quickly prepared, echoing past battles. People from affected countries faced fear and uncertainty, with lives upended overnight. Afghans who worked with the U.S. were especially anxious about their futures. International leaders and organizations voiced concern about the policy's message and humanitarian impact. Some allies criticized the move, while others remained silent. The United Nations reminded countries of their obligations to protect refugees. The global response was deeply divided, reflecting ongoing tensions. The debate over security versus openness intensified. The policy's legacy remains hotly contested. The 2024 policy included some exceptions, allowing waivers for urgent humanitarian cases or U.S. national interest. Afghans with special immigrant visas, SIVs, were still eligible, though processing remained slow. The waiver process was strict and difficult to navigate. The policy's impact was clear. Travel from targeted countries dropped sharply, and many faced personal hardship. Legal battles continued, challenging the policy's scope and fairness. The debate over security versus openness persisted, with no easy answers. Supporters called it a success. Critics said it damaged America's reputation. The future of U.S. travel policy remains uncertain, subject to political change and world events. The 2024 ban was just one chapter in a long, evolving story. It highlighted the tension between security and humanitarian values. Decisions in Washington had global ripple effects. The search for the right balance continues. The debate is far from over.